great joy to see me moving in different podiums. So I'm here now in the center back.
Okay.
Where is he? Anyway, it's upstairs, Your Honor.
Just to put on record, Mr. President, that he's upstairs. So.
In the room. Yes, please go
Yes,
ahead.
with the permission of the Minority Floor Leader. Actually, Mr. President, I actually also have a resolution. I actually don't know if I filed it because I was still studying the measure. And I agree with the Minority Floor Leader that we should study this further. So with his permission, can I just maybe add to the questions that he himself has already propounded? It's up to his honor if he would like to reply, make a comment, or just note my observations.
Most welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. President, in an issuance of Bangko Sentral, which has a parang eagle na nakaganito. So yun na yung isa mo. That was one of the logos. No, can we show the pictures? I'd rather see that than our photos.
Actually,
That's their
actually,
logo. That's
with
their
the
new
permission
logo.
of our two colleagues,
Yes, please.
that new logo looks like an Indonesian logo. I always mistake it for Indonesia. Indonesia also has that Garuda type logo.
What did this honor mention? What year this was adopted? What year did this new logo start appearing? Last year?
That is one of the questions that we want to ask, Mr. President, because in the polymer note, yung bago, which they have issued 10 million and then additional 490 million soon, yan na po ang logo, sa left side, yung new logo, is the one found on the note.
Okay.
Wala na po itong
Nasa right.
nasa right. Oh, but then, since there are two other designs, both legal tender, yan pa po the old logo is still the one in the old notes, understandably, kasi printed ito beforehand. And if you pass by the building of the BSP, it's still the old logo.
It's the old.
It's still the old logo in their on display in their building.
Bakit kaya yun ang nahuli, ano?
So yun po, medyo itatanong po natin yan. And then, ganito lang ba kadali magbago ng logo? Wala bang cost ito? I mean, at then are they also conscious of the cost? And then, since Her Honor already mentioned the similarity of the new BSP logo with maybe an existing logo, or reminds her of
The Senate President is the one who mentioned.
the Senate President of an existing logo.
Actually, Your Honors, I really prefer the old logo because the old logo really looks like a Philippine eagle. It's distinct, the Philippine eagle. The old logo, the old logo is what I like. It looks like a Philippine eagle. The new logo, it does not look like a Philippine eagle. And there, if you look into the Indonesian page, if you Google Indonesia and symbols of Indonesia, yan ang lumalabas. Parang Garuda, which is a half man, half eagle, the sign. So, yan ba yung pinapakita ko ng Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. President, I was also going to say, it reminds me something, and then I thought of asking Senator, former Chief of PNP Chief, now Senator Bato de la Rosa, na di ba parang it reminded me of like the Air Force logo. Oh, and he confirms, let the record show that he said Philippine Air Force. So anyway, kasi when I saw it, I was like, it reminds me of something, and that's what I was thinking of. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes.
So I was just commenting that in one of these digital document that I have, it is a BSP document, and I'm sure His Honor has seen this. The title of the document is Why 1,000 Piso Polymer Banknotes Smarter, Cleaner, and Stronger. Hashtag Piso with Benefits. Hashtag Smarter, Cleaner, Stronger. Okay. So inaral ko to in preparation of my, let the record show, natatawa ang Minority Floor Leader and the Senate President. Saan ho kayo natawa dun sa hashtags? Hashtag Piso with Benefits and Smarter, Cleaner, and Stronger. So I was studying this in preparation of my my resolution as well, and I was struck by a statement in bold that it's the second point that they're raising here, that it is more sustainable and environmentally friendly. So the minority floor leader covered a lot of issues in his privileged speech. I'll just focus perhaps on this sustainability issue. So of course that caught my attention, no? As sustainable, bakit siya sustainable? So sabi dito, polymer banknotes have a smaller carbon footprint because it requires lower water and energy usage for production and cause less environmental toxicity. So I would like that validated, no? I'd like to validate it, no? I take it for what they say, but His Honor is saying yes, no? We want to validate
yes,
this.
During the committee hearing, we better confront the BSP with their own words and their own claims. Kasi plastic nga po ito eh. So between a biodegradable material and the plastic, polymer,
How did it
non-biodegradable,
become?
how do you reach such a
A
conclusion?
conclusion, yes. So it reminds me, Your Honors, all of you here will remember when the discussion on less or no plastic started. It started when I was a new senator, and not a very popular issue then because nobody could imagine that we would even think of banning plastic. And now in the last Congress, we have already passed a law on the producer's responsibility, extended producer's responsibility. But at the time that I chaired the Committee on Environment, parang napakaliit ng awareness on the damage of plastics, or maybe less awareness and very little information. So then a few years later, our colleagues, His Honor might recall that cities started coming up with their own ordinances banning the use of plastic. In fact, in the city where I reside, in Muntinlupa, they came up with such an ordinance. And then, I won't name the name of the bakery, but one day, I was walking in the mall, and I saw a sign that bakery, it said close for violation of the ordinance that banned the use of, nagnanad ang inyong staff, siguro alam niya to, yung use ng single ply plastic, ano. Kwento ko na lang sa inyo kung ano yung brand na yun, kasi masarap yung tinapay dun eh. So nagulat ako, sabi ko, wow, talagang the political will, no, to close it down. But I've always had a problem with that issue because for me, Your Honor, without accompanying awareness campaigns, no, kung wala kang bit-bit na reusable bag, anong gagawin mo? Tapos nauso din po sa, I will explain why this is relevant, no, to the discussion, if it's not obvious already. There were malls and department stores that came up with gimmicks, no, I'm sure they meant well to promote the use of reusable bags. Parang it's like every Friday, use a reusable. But you cannot develop a habit that way. If you read self-help books on developing good habits, a habit is a habit. You have to do it daily. So how will you remember to bring your bayong or reusable bag if every Friday lang yan required sa'yo na gamitin, di ba? So on that note, Your Honor, I started wondering if we shift to paper and not reusable bayongs because the shift was to paper. So if you notice, if you did takeouts, ang daming brown paper bags. Sabi ko, wow, how many trees are destroyed with our intention of doing away with plastic when really the solution would have been reusable bags. Pero because we feel that, I guess the decision was you cannot demand of the consumers to be responsible, which I think is not correct. We should be responsible. Eh di, ang nangyari, you're making the seller provide paper instead. So this is the argument. This is the analogy I'm trying to make. So in the discussion of paper versus plastic, ang binaban natin is plastic bag. Yes, gamitin ng reusable, but clearly, I'm seeing so many used paper. Dito naman, I'm likening the paper to a baka kasi may similar treatment. I'm not an expert. We can ask these questions during the hearing. Pero may use din maraming use ng tubig to produce paper eh. I've done a paper making class. You use water. And that's what they're saying here na gumagamit ng tubig and energy. There is less water and energy used to produce these polymer bills. So now, and the minority floor leader, the sponsor mentioned it, in what way siya naging sustainable, di ba? okay, they claim na gumagamit ng less water and energy, so that makes you think, okay, that's a good thing. But the end result is a plastic product. And when we talk about use of plastic bags, we don't want the plastic bags, right? So, sa usaping magbitbit ng bag, ayaw natin ng plastic bag. Pero sa usaping pera, mas gusto natin yung plastic na pera. So ako, I'm just trying to say, bakit ganon? Ayaw natin ng plastic bag, mas gusto natin ng paper bag, pero ngayon, ayaw natin ng abaka na papel na pera, abaka na pera, gusto natin yung plastic na pera. So gusto ko lang maintindihan yun because may science naman po yun. And I know His Honor is a scientist, di ba? May science yan eh.
Napakagandang tanong nga po. At saka kaya nga din ako nagpaikot ng sample para mahawakan po ninyo. Alin doon ang mukhang fake? So sa kanino, even yung trust eh. Yung trust mismo sa paghawak mo sa pera, iba ang pakiramdam eh. May isa ron, akala mo fake eh.
Pero yun na pala yung totoo.
Yun na yung
Ay, hindi naman sa totoo, yung bago.
Lahat sila totoo, pero yun ang ipapalit na magiging final version sana ng ating 1,000 peso note. Which feels like it's fake.
Yes. So, dagdag ko na lang yung nandito sa dokumentong to, no? Sabi dito, a Bank of England study estimated a reduction of up to 53% in greenhouse gas emissions upon their shift to polymer banknotes from paper banknotes. So I'm assuming na yan ang ginagamit nila na study dyan. Again, ibalik ko yung sinabi nga na itong paggamit ng polymer is, I guess, cleaner and more environmentally friendly. Kasi sabi na it lasts 2.5 times longer than paper banknotes. Pahingin pera, testing ko yan. Gastusin ko yan, tingnan ko kung...
Mag-react po ako dyan, Mr. President. Meron pa nga nagsasabi 3 times longer eh. Pero merong kulatilya eh. May in a joking manner eh. Pag hindi mo gamitin. Pag hindi mo gamitin, it will last 3 times longer. Pero pag gamitin mo na, normal wear and tear na tinutupi, gano'n, ayun na. Then, objectionable handling na yon. It will not last even twice as long or even as long as the
Paper.
paper
Abaka.
abaka. So, yun yun. So, parang gano'n na, theoretically speaking, meron if you're just to admire it from a distance.
Pero actually, Mr. President, ang akin naman gustong pag-isipan natin is this. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, na accurate yun. It's 2.5, 3 times more durable. And then what? Kasi yung abaka, I'm assuming it's a natural product. So parang natural yan na masisynthesize sa biodegradable, di ba? So hindi siya additional garbage para sa atin. This one, so sige, it lasted longer, but what happens to the end product? That's why nga ayaw natin ng plastic, di ba? Kasi matatambak yan. So you'll have piles of unrecognizable bills na i-retire. Pero saan dadalhin yan pagka-retire? Saan ibabaon yun? Because that is always what the environmentalists say.
Mr. President, siguro kung mahiring, matanong natin, anticipated kong sagot dyan eh, masyado pang maaga pag-isipan saan sila. Kasi kaka-introduce pa lang. But dalawa lang yata ang possible. Ilalagay sa landfill, pagkatapos of course i-disable as a, burahin ng mga marking siguro. Or maybe incineration, which is hindi rin natin gusto.
The Senate President's willing to accept recycling. I can recycle it for them.
Ayun.
All that money.
At least alam na natin kung saan natin pwedeng gawin.
Kung
Anong
request
gagawin
ng
natin?
projects
Yun lang ang
kay Senator
problema.
Bato, ako pwede yung sa recycling of money paper.
Anyway, Mr. President, I think I will. I can end on that note, Mr. President, focus lang naman ako sa sustainability. So, if there's no one else who will interpellate, inunahan ko na yung Majority Floor Leader, I'm just going to say, can you also include the Committee on Sustainable Development? Because I want to look at it from a sustainable side also. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Minority Floor Leader.
And in support of the good gentleman from Cagayan de Oro, may silingan, number one, I agree with you. We should continue using our abaca. I don't even know why we're using, to be honest, it's a waste of our resources that they're using these new polymer notes. I think we should be using our abaca products. I totally agree with the Minority Floor Leader. And if you want, if you wish, Your Honors, we can all come out with aside from the investigation that will be held by the Committee on Banks and Sustainable Development Goals, we can also come up with a Senator's Sense of the Senate resolution. I think everyone is convinced we should continue using our abaca. It is indigenous. And so I will support any motion by the Majority Floor Leader later, and all the members possibly as proponents, to come up with a resolution appealing or asking the central bank to go back to its use of abaca to support the abaca industry. Pwede yun. Yes, so, yes,
I
Senator
actually just forgot
Cayetano.
to say something, Your Honor. So in the end, what I feel my responsibility is to the Senate is to bring to our attention all the sustainability issues here and to weigh one against the other, because as we talk as Bangko Sentral uses the word sustainability because of their data that it's 2.5 times more durable and so on and so forth. We already had that discussion as to, but where will it go? And so I bring up SDG number 8, which is about decent work, which brings it back to the concerns of the farmer. I noted that may sagot ang BSP na something like it only affects less than 1% of the production. I won't go into that, Your Honor. My point is, it does still contribute to the work and the abaca production, but it is nga integrally tied to our identity, So how can you put a sustainable number to that? No, I mean, unless it is the worst of the worst, then maybe it's something we can think about. But it's still a natural product. Yun naman din yung sa akin. So it's something that we should take seriously, Your Honors. Thank you.
Yes, I totally agree with our colleague. With the permission of the Minority Floor Leader, it's tied to our identity. And I do not know why we have polymer notes. They said para magmukhang Euro. Hindi naman tayo Europeans. And wala naman tayong production of plastic also because we are not an oil-producing country. So we're importing all the polymer. So I'm with the Minority Floor Leader 100%. And so maybe we can appeal during the budget deliberations on the departments that are involved. Yes. We can also ask them to continue with these focus on abaca production for our banknotes.
And Mr. President, if the plan is to replace all, kasi 1,000 lang ito pinag-usapan natin, but the other banknotes with the polymer material, then definitely it will now be more than the present percentage of abaca produced which will be affected. Kasi that is the plan eh. Yes, mga may wala na yatang 20, yung 50, 100.
And it is difficult for the record. It is difficult, Your Honor, to keep, because I keep my I don't have a wallet, so I keep my banknotes in my pocket. Correct. So naka-fold yun.
Correct.
4 na fold yun. Lalabas ko nga. Papakita. Yan. Naka-fold yun, naka-fold na 4 na beses yan. So, yung polymer note, I don't think is conducive to that type of, ito. Yan, yan.
And it will not live up to the expectation that it will last 3 times longer than the paper banknote.
Baka pa to. If you do that to polymer, sira-sira yun.
That's correct, Mr. President. So
not practical.
I welcome the suggestion of the Senate President to come up with a sense of the Senate, and we will work on that on a bipartisan manner, Mr. President.
You have my support, sir.
Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President. would just like to join the discussion on this particular issue if the distinguished minority leader would yield to some just 1, 2, 3 questions, Mr. President, clarificatory questions.
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, first of all, at the onset, we like to thank and commend our minority leader for bringing into light one of the most important industries and our top agricultural export, which is abaca, Mr. President. We'd like to associate